Before we begin, there's nothing you need to understand. Here, you don't need to focus. You don't need to. Relax. You don't need to take anything in. Just let these moments pass. If your mind wanders, that's okay. If your body feels tired, that's okay. If nothing changes at all, that's okay too. This isn't something you have to do. It's simply a place to rest for a little while.
Take a moment before anything else. Just let your shoulders soften slightly. You don't need to do anything with the breath. You don't need to relax on purpose. Just notice that you're here, listening. That alone is enough. There are people who have been strong for so long that they don't remember what it feels like to not be holding themselves together. Not because they wanted to be strong, but because at some point, being strong felt necessary. Maybe it was praised. Maybe it was expected. Maybe it was the only way to survive. And over time, strength stopped being a choice and became a posture the body never put down. If that's you, nothing has gone wrong. Your body learned exactly what it needed to learn at the time. There is a quiet exhaustion that comes from this. Not the kind that sleep fixes. Not the kind that vacations touch. It's the exhaustion of always being on, of always monitoring yourself, of always bracing, even during rest. You may lie down, but your body doesn't fully land. You may stop moving, but something inside stays alert. Not because you're broken, but because your nervous system learned that stillness wasn't always safe. So if rest feels uncomfortable, if silence feels unsettling, if slowing down feels strangely threatening, it makes sense. You didn't choose this consciously. It happened gradually. Little moments where you learned that expressing too much wasn't welcome, that needing help wasn't met, that feeling deeply required control, so you adapted. An adaptation looks like strength from the outside, but inside, it feels like holding your breath for years. There's something important to say here. You don't need to convince your body that it's safe. Safety isn't something the mind talks the body into. Safety is something the body notices over time. And it begins not with effort, but with permission. Right now, nothing is being asked of you. You're not being guided to fix. You're not being instructed to release. You're not being asked to change your thoughts. You're simply being invited to stop tightening around this moment. Even just 1%. There is a part of you that has been working very hard to keep everything together. It doesn't need to be criticized. It doesn't need to be dismantled. It needs to be thanked because it carried you through what you didn't have words for at the time. And it learned to never rest because rest once felt unsafe. If you listen closely, you might notice that your body doesn't need more understanding. It needs to feel allowed. Allowed to pause without consequence. Allowed to soften without danger. Allowed to exist without being evaluated. You might notice moments where the mind wants to jump in. It might say, "This is nice, but what am I supposed to do? How long will this take? Is this working?" That's not a problem. That's the old protector checking for control. You don't need to silence it. You don't need to argue with it. You can let it speak and let it pass, like a sound in another room. There is a deeper intelligence in you that doesn't speak in sentences. It speaks through sensation, through ease, through subtle shifts, through moments where the body says, "Oh, I don't have to brace right now." Those moments are small, and they matter. For many people, rest feels undeserved, not because they believe that consciously, but because their system learned that worth was tied to effort. So when effort stops, guilt appears, or restlessness, or anxiety. Again, nothing has gone wrong. This is not a flaw. It's conditioning. And conditioning softens through gentleness, not force. You don't need to practice rest. You don't need to get good at stillness. You simply need moments where you don't interrupt it. Moments where you don't rush away from the quiet. Notice right now. Is there any part of your body that's doing more than it needs to? The jaw, the forehead, the shoulders, the stomach. You don't need to change it. Just noticing is enough, because awareness itself is already a form of release. There is a misconception that healing is something you actively do, but much of healing is what happens when unnecessary effort stops. When the body realizes it's not being pushed anymore. You may have spent years anticipating the next thing, the next responsibility, the next demand, the next problem, and your nervous system learned to stay one step ahead. But right now, there is nothing coming. Nothing needs managing. Nothing needs solving. This moment is already complete. You may feel a subtle urge to get something from this experience. A feeling, a breakthrough, a sense of peace. Let that urge relax too. Peace doesn't arrive on command. It emerges when it's no longer being chased. The strength you've carried doesn't need to disappear. It just doesn't need to be tense anymore. Strength can rest. Strength can soften. Strength can be quiet. If your body begins to feel heavy, that's okay. If it feels light, that's okay. If nothing noticeable happens at all, that's also okay. Healing isn't measured by sensation. It's measured by safety. And safety grows slowly. You may notice memories arise, or emotions without clear stories. You don't need to interpret them. The body releases in its own language. Your job is not to translate, only to allow. There is nothing to arrive at. No state you must reach. No finish line. The moment you stop trying to get somewhere, you are already where you need to be. Sometimes the deepest relief comes from realizing that nothing is expected of you. Not even healing. You are allowed.